All right, Solomon, I'm going to go ahead and go through this list. I don't know if I'll get through all of them, but I'm going to start going through these and see what you came up with for today. So the first one was just Jamaica property. And so my criteria, I went in active, pending, and closed. I went back 360, and here's my date range. And I'm coming up with something a little bit higher. So here's our property. It's a ranch, not bad, terrible shape. So it actually doesn't need a ton of money in rehab. So um, they want 399 for it. Here's this 459 that's completely fixed up. It's a tri-level, meaning you got an up and then you got a down here, but it's completely fixed up and it's a little bit smaller. So I would go on the higher range of this of your uh, of your comps here, just because this is where I'm going to start fine tuning your ARVs. So your ARV that you came up with isn't bad. I'm just going to start fine tuning this a little bit, so you start to use a little bit more judgment when you're looking at these. So when you're looking at this property, let me get it pulled up. You can tell that it's in pretty nice condition, right? Looks like the roof is good, the garage door is good. Yeah, it's kind of dated inside. But the windows, these are newer windows, um, newer door. I wouldn't even have to replace that front door. So, the kitchen, we'd probably rip that out and replace all that, right? So you can start to look at this and kind of judge. We would replace these doors. These are the flat panel doors. We put in the six panel doors. And then, of course, it looks like I would probably leave this, right? So I would definitely be on the higher end of these comps. So I saw that you had this 410 over here. It's another tri-level. Um, it is, I wouldn't, this is not a fresh remodel. This is more like, been remodeled like 5 years or so ago. So, or if even that. And then you got this 459, which looks really good. And you got this 439 that's also pretty fixed up. It's kind of I wish I could see the outside a little bit more, but definitely fixed up inside. Now, why this one's 439, the pricing is pretty solid in here because you're right up against, looks like maybe some commercial here. So it backs to some kind of commercial on Havana. So that's why you got a lower price point. So I would definitely go with that 460 on this ARV. So that, maybe even 470 because it's so nice inside. We won't have to do a lot of work. So that gets us up a little bit higher. So um, does it sell for 399 to a retail buyer maybe, but an investor would definitely need to be buying it around here somewhere. So okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, so this next one is Dorado Place. Kind of a weird house to comp. You came up with 430. I don't have huge problem with that. I think I can see where you got that. I am going to have you. So here's another property that is pretty clean, right? So it doesn't look like we need to do windows. It just looks like a carpet paint type of job. So it doesn't, I mean, the doors are pretty newer. It doesn't need to be scraped, but we're talking about maybe a $40,000 flip. So when they're pretty clean inside and you can see the roof and the outside's in pretty good condition, the yard's nice, um, I'm gonna have you get a little bit more aggressive on the price so we can try to get a few more of these under contract. So, and this is not this 430. The way I've been teaching is just fine. So, but on this one, let's take a look around the neighborhood, see if we can justify maybe pushing that up a little bit. So we've got this. I saw this 440 right here, and there's no comp that I found that's exactly like that one. But this 440 right here is pretty nice, right? But you can tell it's still got the popcorn ceilings. It doesn't have can lighting. It doesn't have some of the nice stuff that we do. So it's not a fresh rehab, is what I'm getting after. So maybe just kind of look out here and see. Here's this one for 457. Um, and again, these are two-story, where ours is a single story, so it's a little different. But I mean, as long as we're not getting way too far out there. So here's another 459. So we're around that 460 mark. Being that this one is really nice and it doesn't need a lot of money, I would say let's push this value to 460, 470. Is it going to sell for that? Probably not. Here's one for 480. So maybe, actually, maybe. So this is a fresh rehab, right? So let's use this value. It was 490. So let's use that. See what we come up with. So 490, 457. So I'm just going to see if we can push these a little bit so we can get a few more in a contract. Let me keep going and see what we come up with. All right, so here's the next one, Aberdeen Drive. Uh, yep, it's another one of these properties that's pretty clean inside, right? Um, I think this is probably one that will go to a retail buyer because it's clean enough, but let's go ahead and make an offer on it anyways, right? So I saw where you got your comp. Looks like you used this under contract over here, would be my guess, which is a pretty good call. I mean, it's in the same neighborhood, the same type of house, and it's really nice inside. So this is another one though. The house is in pretty clean condition. So yep, your ARV was spot on. But it's pretty nice inside. It's a carpet paint type job. But we can try to get a little more aggressive on this pricing on those type of houses. Now, when the house needs new windows and it's fallen down and the siding sucks and all that, then we're a little more conservative with our comps, right? But when the house is pretty decent inside and it doesn't look like it needs a whole lot, then we can maybe adjust our comps a little bit upward. So this is a tailoring that we're going to start doing. And this is where this becomes more of an art form for you to get really good. Um, so anyways, that should help you start to get more contracts by you just kind of tailoring it by the nicer ones. You can maybe be a little more aggressive on the ARV, and if it's a little less, if the house is really beat up, maybe needs a new roof, the windows are old, all that kind of stuff, you can be a little more conservative on the ARV because you've really nailed the ARV part. This is where you start to tailor it, and it becomes more of an art form to get some of these contracts. So I'm going to move on to the next one. All right, so your next one here is this Rifle Street. And good eye on picking these out. This is definitely one that, oh, I'm sorry, not Rifle. Where did that sucker go? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Rifle. Just grabbed the wrong one. So, yeah, good eye on picking these out. Definitely needs work. Got stained carpets and it's pretty dated inside. Um, but again, it's pretty nice. Like it's a carpet and paint job, right? So that means we just got to go in. We're just ripping out bathrooms and kitchens and putting in new carpet and painting the walls. But from what I could tell, there might need some work down here for sure. But from what I can tell, the windows are newer, and we're going to assume the roof is okay. But that's something we can pick up on inspection. So, anyways, I wanted to dive in this a little deeper. So I saw where you grabbed this 380 comp. That's what you comped yours at, was 380 as your ARV. And this was it. So I took a quick look at it, and it is pretty nice inside. I mean, newer floors, newer kitchen, um, newer lighting. Now we got some black appliances, and we've got some stainless steel. It looks like these cabinets are maybe a little beat up. So this isn't what you'd call a fresh rehab, right? But it's pretty darn nice. They're missing a mirror there, so that's kind of weird. But it's a newer house, right? So some spots a bit dated. So anyways, I want to show you something here. So I can see where you got the 380. I don't disagree with it. But we've got some under contracts here that are pretty interesting, right? So that's not a fresh rehab, but let's pull up this 410. I love to look at what's going on around this within a few blocks. Now this one is a fresh rehab, uh, really fresh, right? So this is brand new everything in it. So let's take a look at what's been happening with this property. So they originally listed at 435. This is their original list price. They listed it back in June. So it's been on the market for a good stretch. But they had to drop it down to 410 because they weren't getting any action at 435. They dropped it down to 410, And then it went under, I didn't look at the exact history. Let's see how long it took to go under contract. So this is the listing history. So they did a price decrease to 410, and then 4 or 5 days later, boom, they got a contract, right? 7.2. So now this is telling us a pretty good picture of pricing in this neighborhood. We know that if we're at 435 with a brand new fresh rehab, we're going to do the exact same thing, right? We're not going to be able to sell it there, but 410, 400 with a fresh rehab, this is where you can really start to fine tune your numbers quite a bit. Now there's this 365, I'm sorry, 395, and let's see how nice this one is. So not great. Look at the carpet here. It's a ranch, so it's okay, but it may not be. Um, we could tell that we need to be we can be a little bit above that with a fresh rehab. So that's why I'd probably shoot for that 410 mark is what I would go for on your sheet, and that would make it a little more aggressive. All right, so this next one on your sheet is this 1503 Emerson Street. We've already offered on this one, so I'm not sure what you wanted me to do on this. It's on our offer sheet already, and I believe I've already talked to the agent about this. I think they got multiple offers, so I'm just going to move on to the next. All right, so your next one you've got here is this Calamaria or whatever, Calamara, whatever. Anyways, not pronouncing it correctly, but yeah, I agree with you here. It's listed at 465. You've got several comps in here at 560, 570 that work pretty well. Just kind of looking at the condition of the house now that we're starting to talk about that. These are older windows, so this one definitely needs to be updated. These are older aluminum windows. They'll probably need to be replaced. So this house is going to need quite a bit of rehab. So, but yeah, I saw where you pulled your comps. I agree with you. I don't even think I'd make any adjustments to try to get more aggressive with it just because it needs a lot of work. I mean, here's your 560 and really nice inside. And new kitchen, new flooring. It's not a fresh rehab because you can see the people's pictures over here, right? But it's still pretty nice. So, I would say you want to stick to that. But definitely newer windows, new paint, new carpet, new everything. So, yep. So that puts us at 411. So, yep, that looks good. All right. So this one right here gives us something to talk about here. This Dartmouth. So let me see. No, it's 117th. So I didn't look at these other two. Looks like your list price, we're a little bit under, a little bit under, uh, or maybe I looked at this Calamira, but I didn't look at Dartmouth. But I'm gonna assume that you got that one spot on. So anyways, I wanted to talk about this 117th. So when you come up with ARVs that are less than even their listing price, our offer is going to be pretty significantly less. So on these, I would just gray these out, just because typically I find that if we're offering something less than 100,000 on a house, we're probably just going to get laughed at, and it's just only once have I ever got a property $100,000 off. And that one was just an obvious that it wasn't going to sell for what they're asking. But on this one, it's pretty decent inside. It's probably going to sell to a retail buyer. Are they going to get 430? I don't think so, but maybe like 420 or 410 or something like that. And I was looking around the neighborhood. Could we adjust it up a little bit? Yeah, we could. I mean, we've got, where's our property at? It is 445. Can we get this 447? It's a two-story, so it's not a great comp, but it's also not a fresh rehab. So we know we can, with the fresh rehab, they just sell for a little bit more. So here's this 465 right here. And so we kind of know we're in that range, 465. Could we push it a little bit more? I saw one in there. It's 475, maybe it was. And that's not a very good comp either. But it's pretty clean inside. Anyways, I think we could have probably pushed it up to 470 or so, but I mean, where does that put us? Let's say 475. We're still, 100,000 off on a pretty nice house. I would just say don't worry about it. So anyways, that's pretty much it for those. I'm going to give you some different assignments here in the next couple of days to keep you more busy. This is stuff that we're going to be working on. I'll shoot a separate video for this. So I'm going to shoot this back to you. Go ahead and set the showings. And good job overall. You really got this ARV thing really dialed in. Now it's just fine tuning it so you can really get more aggressive with your pricing, or just get your pricing more exact. So really the theme of today's lesson is, if the house is pretty nice inside, you can be a little more aggressive with the ARV. If the house is, kind of in rough shape, you can be more conservative or a little less on the ARV based on what you're looking at. But you still want to stay within a range. You don't want to go too wild on it, right? We're talking about adjustments of, 10, 15, 20, maybe $30,000, and that's about it, just based on conditions. So anyways, I will get this over to you. Go ahead and set the showings and make the offers. And I'm going to shoot you over a couple different things that I want to, now that you know how to do ARVs and you're getting really good at it, I'm going to start giving you some different assignments and different stuff that we're going to be looking at. So talk to you soon.